So till now, whatever we have discussed, the equivalent circuits or equivalent models, they're all small signal equivalent models where they mainly deal with low frequencies. And in whenever we consider the lower frequencies, we will be ignoring some capacitances like stray capacitances or junction capacitances, which will be uh, having their own reactances. But when we are considering high frequency modeling, in this high frequency modeling, even we will consider these small minute things also. So that is where we are going to consider the junction capacitance, which is which is going to be exhibited by the junctions of the MOSFET. Since we are discussing about the modeling with respect to the MOSFET, here also, according to our MOSFET structure, this is N, this is N, this is P. So here, this is N. So this is an N-channel D MOSFET, which I have taken as an example. Here you can see that between this N layer and the substrate is P layer. So obviously it is going to form it will be having a junction. Again, between this N layer and P layer, there will be a junction because it is a PN junction. Again, when you are going to consider the gate terminal, there also you will be giving the opposite polarity, as you know, to attract the electrons to make to have more number of electrons, or in order to have the enhanced mode. What we do is we are going to connect the positive voltage to the gate terminal, so that the minority charge carriers which are present in the P layer, they also just jump into this N layer, such that the drain current is going to increase. Here, since gate is positive and this N layer is negative, this also forms a junction. Okay, and this junction will be compared with a capacitors. As you know, in semiconductor diodes and all, we have discussed about diffusion and depletion capacitance. So diffusion capacitance is the capacitance which is exhibited by the PN junction whenever it is forward biased. Depletion capacitance is the capacitance or capacitive behavior exhibited by the PN junction whenever it is reverse biased. So, first we need to understand why we are considering capacitors with respect to the junction. The basic principle of the capacitance tells that we'll have a positive plate and a negative plate. In between this, where we'll be having dielectric medium. The same principle is being compared with the PN junction. When we compare these capacitors with PN junction, we can see that this P layer is going to resemble the positive plate, and N layer is going to resemble the negative plate, and this junction is going to resemble the dielectric medium. So from this, we tell that the diode is going to exhibit the capacitive behavior. As already we know, the junction is going to exhibit the resistivity, it is going to offer some resistance. We tell that diode is having resistance. Under forward bias, it offers less resistance. Under reverse bias, it offers more resistance. In the same way, diode is also going to exhibit the capacitive behavior. Here, On what basis we are going to tell diffusion and what basis we are going to tell depletion? Yes, say whenever a diode or a PN junction, here we take the PN junction. PN junction is forward biased. During that time, the depletion layer is going to reduce. When the depletion layer is going to reduce, during that time, during that time, the junction starts reducing. It is just like you are bringing two plates closer to each other. According to the principle of capacitance, when you bring two capacitor plates or any two metallic plates closer to each other, then accumulation of the charges over the plates increases. In the same way here, when the junction is getting reduced, during that time, flow of charges increases. So on that basis, we are going to tell the capacitance is going to exhibit uh, it is going to the depletion layer or the junction is going to exhibit the diffusion capacitance where the charge flow is increased, which is similar to bringing two plates closer to each other. In the same way, under reverse bias condition, we know that the depletion layer is going to increase. So P and N layer will be separated by this depletion layer, large depletion layer. So it is compared to capacitor plates which are moving away from each other. So here dielectric medium is increasing, and as we know dielectric medium is compared with the depletion region. So when depletion region is also increasing, accumulation of the charges or flow of charges in the PN junction reduces. In the same way in capacitor also, when plates are moving away from each other, the accumulation of the charges on the plates decreases. So on this comparison between these two, we are going to tell the junction is going to exhibit the depletion capacitance. So considering all these things, we need to consider this diffusion, depletion capacitances, and we are going to tell them as the junction capacitance, or it is also known as source body and drain body capacitance. Okay, this is the name which is given. This is the name which is given for the junction capacitance, source body and drain body capacitance. So whenever uh, the source is going to exhibit the diffusion capacitance, that is with respect to the source terminal, source and the substrate. Because as we just looked into the construction, we are having an N well with respect to source and N well with respect to drain. So when you consider that N well, or if you take P type P well with respect to the source, then the source diffusion capacitance is given by CSB is equal to CDB 0 by root of 1 plus VSB by V0. So here VSB is nothing but the value of reverse bias voltage, and CSB CSB 0 is nothing but it is the value of the source, the capacitance under the source bias at zero body source bias condition. And the voltage range of this junction will be around 0.6 to 0.8 volt. Repeat it again. So here we are having the VSB. VSB is the reverse bias voltage, and V0 is the junction built-in voltage, that is whatever the voltage which is given out by the capacitance. So that we call it as built-in voltage or drop-in voltage. That ranges around 0.6 to 0.8. And CSB is nothing but the body source bias voltage, and it is CSB 0 is nothing but sorry, CDB 0, here it is nothing but the value of the capacitance under zero bias voltage, in the same way for drain diffusion capacitance, we are having CDB is equal to CDV 0 by root of 1 plus VDB by V naught. Here also same way, it is at zero body potential, the capacitance under zero body bias potential, and VDB is nothing but the voltage, the reverse bias voltage under uh, with respect to the drain, reverse bias condition under drain, and also we are having V out. It is nothing but the built-in voltage or cut-in voltage across the capacitance, and again this is also equal to 0.6 to 0.8 volt. So these are the two formulas which we are going to use. And apart from this, we also should know what are the different conditions or the regions of operation of this MOSFET. So that we have already discussed in the electronic devices subject, where even in the basic electronics you have studied that. So whenever you consider MOSFET, there are three regions of operation. One is the ohmic region, saturation region, and the other one is the cutoff region. So these are the three regions of operation we are having. So whenever you are having ohmic region, there will be flexibility in changing the voltage, and whenever you are having saturation region, even though it is going to be saturated, but there is no variation, the output voltage or the current will be constant. Cutoff region, it is the situation where uh, the MOSFET will be off. So with all these basics, let us go with the high frequency model. So for the high frequency model, uh, see, we were telling that the for the frequencies at under DC, the input resistance or the capacitances, we were telling that it was offering infinite resistance. The capacitance was offering infinite resistance for DC and all. But when it comes to high frequency model, so during that case, the capacitances will not be the capacitive reactance will not be infinite, because C and F, they are inversely proportional to each other. So when frequency is increasing, automatically the capacitance, the capacitive reactance is going to be decreased. So because they are inversely proportional to each other. So with this, we need to analyze the high frequency model. So we cannot ignore the reactance which is offered by the capacitors under high frequency modeling. So for this, we are going to consider for the high frequency model, we consider hybrid pi model only. So as you know, in a hybrid pi model, we will be considering each and every capacitances which are exhibited in the MOSFET. In the same way, in high frequency modeling, we consider the same pi model, hybrid pi model, and we are going to consider all the capacitors here. If you can see here, this is the example, whatever we have taken here is with respect to the common source configuration. So where source is common to input as well as the output, and we are giving the input from the gate, and we are collecting the output from the drain. And here, in our earlier cases, we were just considering the drain current, and we were telling that the drain current is dependent upon the gate to source voltage, whatever we are giving at the input side. But here, we need to consider even the other current which is going to be flowing. So let us look into our normal PN junction case. See, we will tell that we are having, whenever it is forward bias, we are telling that the current flows from P to N. Forward current is going to flow. In this condition, do you think that there will be some reverse current also which will be flowing, or you think that there is no such reverse currents? Hmm? Is there any current which is also going to be flowing through the junction along with this drain current or along with this forward current? Hmm? No response. Okay. So whenever we consider in high frequency modeling, so we will be this is the usual part which we are already having, where we are considering the drain current. The drain current will be flowing, and it is dependent upon the gate to source voltage and transconductance GM. So this is the dependent current source which we are already having. Along with that, since we are designing, or since we are analyzing the high frequency modeling, we have considered the gate to drain uh, capacitors. So the capacitances that exist between the gate and the drain. See, this terminal, this terminal, this terminal, this terminal, all the terminals is a common terminal because we don't have any resistance in between. So this terminal and this, between this terminal and this terminal, there exists a junction. So that junction is going to exhibit some capacitance. That capacitance we mark it as CGD. In the same way, between the gate and the source, there is a junction. Since between the gate and source there is a junction, we are going to consider we are going to consider one more capacitance. Wherever there is junction, on capacitance we are going to consider. So we are going to consider one capacitance between the gate and the source terminal. So this terminal, this terminal, this terminal, all are same. It is a common node only. We have written it in this way. So between these two, one capacitance that will be existing. After that, since we are taking the output across the drain, there will be internal output resistance across the drain. So that is going to be existing across this. So small r naught, that is existing across the output. Now, when you are going to consider this, we are having two more capacitances that comes into picture. One capacitance is the diffusion capacitance, and the other capacitance is the diffusion capacitance with respect to um, the source, and diffusion capacitance with respect to the drain. So since the drain and the substrate, they are going to make a junction, as I wrote the diagram in the beginning of the class. So we need to consider two extra junction capacitance. Along with this, we need to consider two more extra capacitances. So these capacitors, so this is the body uh, connection. So as you know that the MOSFET will be having one extra terminal that with respect to the substrate. At the bottom, we'll be having substrate connection. So, but usually that substrate connection, we are going to ignore it, and or it will be short circuited with the source. So now that body connection or the body terminal of that MOSFET, between that body terminal of the MOSFET, body terminal is nothing but the substrate. So with respect to the substrate and the drain, there is one junction which is formed. As you know, this is the N well and this is P well, like this if you are having. This is the substrate. The substrate connection will be here. So between this, the substrate connection means this entire thing will be the substrate. So between the P uh, substrate and N well, there is one junction which is formed with respect to the source. So this is going to represent that. And between this P substrate and the drain, there is one junction that is going to be formed. That is this one. Drain, source, and in the middle we get the gate. So between the source and the substrate, we have one capacitor. Between the drain and the substrate, we are having one more capacitor because of the junction which is formed with respect to the N wells. So that is represented by this capacitor. Now, with all these things, we should know that the effect of uh, these capacitors will be existing under high frequency modeling. But when you consider the effect of these junctions compared to the main junctions which are created between the gate to drain and gate to source, the effect of source to body will be ignored. The effect of source to the body will be ignored because anyhow we are grounding the source terminal. When you are grounding the source terminal in common source configuration, the effect of CSB can be ignored. The effect of the CSB can be ignored. But since you are getting the output across the drain, the effect of CDB, that is the diffusion drain capacitance or diffusion capacitance of the drain terminal, that cannot be ignored because it is connected across the drain. So we are going to consider that in the simplified version of the circuit. And GM VGS as usual it will be there, and R naught since we are taking across output. And since as I was asking you, is there any current that will be flowing across the junction along with this forward bias current, that is VGS. See, there will be some small amount of current which will be flowing with respect to the body or the substrate and with respect to the source. So that is represented by this current source, because when you are trying to operate the MOSFET in enhancement mode, during that time some amount of current or some amount of charges will jump into um, the gate terminals and all. Because of that, small amount of current will be added. But when it is compared with respect to the main current which is flowing towards the drain, this current can be ignored because it is less, it is minimum current. So based on that, in the next step, we are going to ignore this one and this one. These two are ignored, comparing with respect to the higher values of the capacitance and the current source. Again, this can be further simplified by neglecting CDP. and you can write it as this way. So this is the more simplified circuit, and we are considering R naught only. Why we are considering R naught only? Because when you can see with respect to this R naught and CDB, they are parallel to each other, and because of this, the capacitance, the reactance which is offered by this can be ignored, because the resistance of R naught will be lesser compared to the resistance offered by the capacitance CDB. And as we know, in parallel combination, the resistance which is having least value will be the effective resistance compared to the maximum resistance. If you are having 1 kilo ohm and 100 kilo ohm, and you are telling these two are parallel to each other, the effective capacitance will be almost equal to 1 kilo ohm. So that is how in parallel combination the effective resistance we are going to get. But if it is in series, then obviously it will be equal to 100 kilo ohm. So on this basis, we can ignore the effect of CDB since we are having R naught parallel to this. So from that, the next circuit we are having is this one, where we are having only R naught, and this is the simplified version of high frequency model. So in these are three steps which you need to write with respect to the high frequency modeling. Okay. Now the next one is with respect to the frequency response of CS amplifier. So the frequency response of CS amplifier, for that we'll take one example of the circuit where we are having the common source configuration, and you can see that the input signal is given and the input is given to the gate terminal. We are having CC1, CC2, they are the coupling capacitors which we are having, and CS we are having. The CS can be uh, um, consider in parallel. If suppose if you are adding some source resistance, if RS is added across this source terminal, then you can take it as in this way. Since RS is not added in this, we are writing in this form, because if you can consider that capacitance also, the reactance of those capacitance will be ignored because the other terminal is short circuited to the ground. So now this is known as the bypass capacitance, and these two are known as the coupling capacitance which we are having. And we are connecting an external gate resistance, which will be usually in terms of mega ohm, and the load where we want to absorb the output will be connected across the output. So for this, if you are going to give some amount of this is, as we know that it is an common source amplifier, and this is the most the common source configuration is the most widely used configuration with respect to the MOSFET. So we'll try to plot try to plot the frequency response. So for the frequency response, we are going to plot gain versus the frequency. So for this, we will be keeping the input signal constant, voltage, input signal voltage constant, but we'll be just changing the frequencies. So you can keep input as less as possible, maybe around 100 millivolt, and we start increasing the frequency in terms of 100, 200, 300, like that, similar to the experiment which you have done. Those who have done it, you'll remember it. Those who have just copied it, you'll not remember that. Those who have done it, you can just recall frequency for the open-ended experiment, which you are where you have taken different frequencies. By changing the frequencies, the output is going to vary, and based on that, you are going to plot the frequency response of the amplifier. In the same way, here also we are doing the same, we are following the same method. So we give the voltage, input voltage constant, and we keep on changing the input frequencies. When the input frequencies keep on changing 100, 200, 300, 1K, 2K, 3K, 4K, 10 kilohertz, 100 kilohertz, 200 kilohertz, 1 megahertz, like that, we are keep on changing. The output voltage will also be keep on changing. By taking the changed output divided by the input signal, we get the gain. Gain is equal to V naught by V signal, and we convert this gain in terms of decibel. So once we are converting it in terms of decibel, then we will take 3 dB downwards, as you know. Suppose if you are not converting it into decibel, then you will be taking 1 by root 2 times of the main value. So now let us see how this frequency response will look. So this is the frequency response which we are having. So you can see that this is the gain which is plotted along the y-axis, and this is the frequency which is plotted along x-axis, and this is the lower cutoff frequency, this is the upper cutoff frequency which is obtained once we take 3 dB downwards. So let us see how we are going to do that. So we are increasing the frequency in terms of 100, 200, like that. We'll keep on increasing the frequency. With respect to change in frequency, output voltage will be changed. When output voltage is changed, the gain is also going to be varied. With respect to that, the frequency response is plotted like this. And we take the center point of this response, and from that we take 3 decibel downwards, and we are going to plot the horizontal line, and at this horizontal line, the point where it is going to intersect with respect to the response, we are going to take the vertical line, and this will be your lower cutoff and this will be your upper cutoff frequency. So and this is your the midband gain AM. So this whatever we are having here, that will be the midband gain. Suppose if you are not converting in terms of decibel, then you will be taking 1 by root 2. Now in the frequency response of CS amplifier, you should remember that the the gain is lesser from the range 0 to FL. The gain is lesser and it is slowly increasing, but it is not maximum, because here the gain is going to suffer the effect from the coupling capacitance and the bypass capacitance or source capacitance CC1, CC2 and CS. Because of this bypass and coupling capacitance reactances, the gain will be less. So when frequency is slowly increasing, during that time the gain starts increasing. Until that, because of the reactance effect of this coupling and the source capacitors, the gain will be less. Okay, so they can ask you in any once why the gain is less and why the gain is more there. And when it considered, when you are coming to the midband region, once you cross the lower cutoff frequency, there you can see that the gain is almost constant and it is maximum, because the all the capacitances will be neglected here, and the reactance of all the capacitance will be very negligible. So at that particular midband or that particular frequency range, the reactance of these capacitances will be nullified or it will be neglected because they don't have much effect over the frequency response. Once you are going to cross the upper cutoff frequency or this particular frequency, then again the gain starts reducing. Here again the gain starts reducing because again when you cross some certain frequency, the reactive effect of the drain gate to drain capacitance and the gate to source capacitance, two capacitors which we discussed in the high frequency modeling, no, gate to source capacitance and gate to drain capacitance. This will be creating its reactive effect over this frequency response. So again the gain starts reducing. So that's why we tell the gain falls off due to the effect of CGS and CGD. Okay. So since we are going to consider the source to be grounded, we can, in short, we can write it as gate capacitance CG, or we can also write it as CGS. Okay. This is the frequency response which we need to understand. So after this, we are having we are going to discuss about this is the generalized frequency response we discussed now till now the where we are having the frequency response of uh, all the three: low frequency, mid-band frequency, high frequency. Now we are going to look into the high frequency response of CS MOSFET amplifier. So for this, we'll take the high frequency model. You can see that this is the high frequency model only, but along with that, this portion, whatever we are having now, this is the high frequency model only. Just now, a few minutes back, we discussed now. This is the high frequency model. This high frequency model, since we are talking about CS MOSFET amplifier, we are just adding the external gate resistance, external drain resistance, load resistance. And since they act parallelly, we are connecting it parallelly. RD, RL is in parallel and source is grounded. So that this is RL and RL dash indicates the effective resistance offered by R0, RD, RL. Because since these three are parallel to each other, we can find out the effective resistance, and that effective resistance is considered to be RL dash. So now we'll look in how actually we are going to simplify this circuit into small and write the equation. See, you can see first is the input signal. To find the or to have the to find the resistance which is across this, we are going to apply the voltage divider rule, and based on that we are going to write this equation, or with respect to this means first we'll write this the overall the resistance which is being offered. Then here since even though we tell that we are having the R signal or the signal resistance, since it is in uh, since it is in touch with the gate resistance, we find out the effective signal resistance by considering R signal and RG. After this, we take it as R dash signal by considering the effective resistance of R signal and RG. Then the effective voltage is considered to be V signal into RC by RC plus R signal. So here RC is nothing but the overall the resistance which is offered across this terminal. After this, here this current source we are having anyhow, and along with that, you can see that we are having CGD, the gate to drain gate to drain capacitance. So this gate to drain capacitance, it can be since we from the earlier circuit, we are having the source which is grounded. So we can connect this gate to drain source to ground, and after that we can have the current source which is connected between the drain and the source which is grounded. So this will be the simplified circuit, and also RL dash will be the effect of R naught, RD, and RL. By considering the effect of all these three, we are going to consider RL dash, and by applying the KVL across the output loop, we will be getting minus GM RL dash into VGS. That will be the output voltage, and considering the effective capacitance here, we will be the effective capacitance instance, we will be considering the capacitance offered by this and capacitance offered by this. So for that, we'll be using the Miller's theorem. So Miller's theorem is going to tell Miller's capacitance effect, or also we tell Miller theorem. So according to Miller theorem, what it is going to tell is, it is not there for your syllabus, but you should know what it is. Suppose you have connected, let us take this as amplifier, and between this you are having one capacitor which is connected to the input as well as the output. Then, according to Miller capacitance effect, what he has told is the capacitance which is offered by this capacitor is basically, this is not the external capacitance, it is the capacitance which occurs because of the junctions. The capacitance which is between the input and the output will be shared among the input circuit and the output circuit. He is going to tell that this capacitive, the effect which is produced by this capacitor will be shared among the input and the output. But this effect, it is going to depend. I mean, we cannot tell the effect of this capacitor will be equal in input and the output. Some part will be having effect on this, and remaining part will be effect on output. So major part will be having the effect over the input compared to the output. So according to him, the equivalent capacitance is given by C equivalent is equal to 1 plus AV into C. So here C is nothing but GD, gate to drain. Okay, so 1 plus AV times CGD will be towards the input according to him. So based on using all those theorems, we have written this one. and we have a small derivation. Followed by that, we are having low frequency response. That is going to end up the chapter, so that we can look in the next class.